What is up, everybody? Hope all is well. Recently, I was watching an episode of Westworld. Season 1 of that show is television perfection, by the way. A scene played with Anthony Hopkins. In it, he talks about an old race dog and the saddest thing he'd ever seen. The story he tells is an allegory for how something so beautiful could end so tragically. And it made me think of Overwatch, among other more soul-crushing things. Anyone who's played Overwatch, and I mean really played Overwatch, knows it's an amazing game. The teamwork is second to none. I've played it since 2016. It's been my go-to competitive shooter, and in that time, I've played virtually every day. I mean, I love the game in a way that only a rare few games will approach in your lifetime. It's very special to me in terms of the fun I've had, the moments I experienced, and friends I made. Rivaled only by EVE Online, but that's a video for another day. Lately though, for many reasons, all this has changed. The current state of Overwatch is complicated. Overwatch 1 has been essentially abandoned, Overwatch 2 delayed yet again, and Activision Blizzard itself is a total mess. The whole franchise is just one big question mark. To adequately understand the scope of Overwatch's fall from grace, it's first important to understand just how good and big it was. When Overwatch launched in May of 2016, there was nothing like it, aside from a Battleborn, how untimely Gearbox, sorry about that. The idea of a MOBA-based shooter was fresh and exciting, one made by Blizzard even more so, and gamers ate it up. It took the industry by storm and quickly became one of the most popular in the world. The next 2 years were incredible. It won a stupid amount of awards, the player base was massive, it was a new, deep game with years of playing ahead before it was solved. It had solidified its place in the gaming lexicon, and to top it off, in 2018, the Overwatch League launched. Looking back, little did we know, but in many ways, Overwatch was peaking. There are many reasons why the community sees this time as the game's inflection point, but I think most, which we'll discuss, were just a symptom of something bigger. Overwatch was soon to become a victim of its own success. In 2018, things started to change. As the game's popularity, and thus revenue, grew to insane heights, each development and business decision became a lot more complicated. If you asked a million different Overwatch players, what's that? We don't have a million? No? Okay. If you asked 1,000 different Overwatch players what happened, you'd get 1,000 different answers, but you'd see the same theme, so let's talk about some of those, try and figure out why Overwatch slipped. When the Overwatch League launched around New Year's of 2017-2018, it was a cultural phenomenon. I mean, do you remember this ad?
Put it out there. Level it up. Get good with it. Like, really good.
I remember seeing that commercial in the US in prime time during football games. That's about as big as marketing gets, and that's freaking Serena Williams. I mean, come on. But despite the fanfare, truth be told, the Overwatch League and its associated revenue complicated game design. How do you balance for both pros and casuals? How do you create gameplay that's exciting to watch? What kind of new content or heroes would best satisfy that equation? And you can be certain that with so much money at stake, I'll brought more corporate suits to the table to complicate things. Many people believe that balancing all these things is essentially impossible and just leads to a broken game. For all intents and purposes though, Overwatch had been split in two. Strategy and mechanics the pros used were so unavailable to casual players that they were just two different games, and if Blizzard were to drop the ball with either demographic, Activision would be there to quote-unquote correct things. So Blizzard lost no matter what they tried. Over the years, Overwatch has received 11 new heroes, and in a vacuum you're thinking, new heroes, great, right? But not with the Overwatch community. It's quite a confounding thing to see the reaction. Everyone wants new heroes, but a lot of people complain it makes the game more complex and balance more difficult and thus hurts match quality. Others see power creep with each new hero that slowly but surely erodes the original feel of the game, and to top it off, there's always a contingent of fans who expect, nay demand, Blizzard make that hero good for their worldview of the game, and if it doesn't fit that narrative, they complain regardless. Again, Blizzard's in a tough spot. Sensing a theme here? I'll quickly roll through the new heroes and release dates, but there are a few I'm going to single out in the end because to this day they remain controversial. First year, we got Ana, Sombra, Orisa. Year 2, Doomfist, Moira, Brigida. Year 3, Wrecking Ball, Ashe, and Baptiste. And Year 4, Sigma, and finally Echo. Ana's actually my main, so no bias here, honest. The controversy around her though is that she somewhat introduced burst healing to the game, and its impacts remain to this day. This allowed things like rush tactics to be more feasible, as you could just pile bodies into a space and rely on Ana to heal them up, perhaps pushing past the pace of engagement Overwatch had originally intended. It also, perhaps more crucially, made killing some targets damn near impossible when Ana had them focused. When Overwatch first launched, 2 DPS heroes, Tracer and Genji, were some of its most popular. Super fun to play and super fun to watch, but a choir of voices grew, both casual and professional, against their dominance, and so Blizzard made Brigida, a stunning, whip-shotting, AoE melee and AoE healing support hero. Capable of comboing virtually every DPS, she single-handedly changed the game overnight. The meta change caused immediate outrage, and over the next few years, we'd see Blizzard balance Brigida into various forms in an effort to balance all this out. When Doomfist was announced, players were like, a melee DPS hero? How's that going to work, Blizz? And Blizz was like, he's gonna slide across rooftops and one-shot people. And the players were like, okay? I don't know what they were thinking with Doomfist, to be honest. No one does, but he's popular, he can be countered within reason, and as a character, he's pretty charismatic. I think people just don't like the cheese. In August of 2019, Blizzard introduced Role Queue. It forced team compositions of 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 support. The perceived reasoning behind this change is twofold. First, whereas previously players could choose any hero they wanted, it sometimes resulted in bizarre team comps that just weren't conducive to the game or Blizzard's vision for it. And secondly, a lot of people feel it simplified balance for the development team. I think there's some truth to both of those. Community response to this was fairly polarized and remains so to this day. Those who wanted open queue argued it stifled creativity and limited individual playmaking. Those who wanted role queue argued it was necessary for balance and to ensure all skill brackets played the format Blizzard envisioned. Universally though, everyone agreed the resulting queue times were just unacceptable and really hurt the game. However, now both are in game in full, but damage from the queue times has been done. It's impossible to say how many players and viewers for that matter have left as a result, but Blizz sure gave both sides plenty of reason. I don't think we can blame Overwatch 2, rather we can blame the way it's been rolled out. The changes they've announced thus far, the reasoning provided, and the lack of information given all make players pretty anxious and nervous, primarily the change to 5v5 from 6v6. It was announced early, way too early, literally like 2 to 3 years too early. Blizzard also decided to apparently stop creating any new content for Overwatch while they make Overwatch 2. And finally, making it Overwatch 2 at all has been a point of contention. The addition of PvE didn't need to be done here, some say. Rather, just make a PvE Overwatch game and leave PvP Overwatch as is. Regardless, I think for a lot of people, bundling the two has just made it more difficult for Blizzard to finish, and both are worse off for it. Regardless of how you think Overwatch got here, it's here. I'm sure it's complicated, an amalgamation of everything above and then some. The sorry state of ActiBlizz sure hasn't helped. And I have to say it's somewhat sad to see. I obviously enjoy games more than most, and I take them to heart more than most. In the middle of the day when the thought crosses my mind, can't wait to game tonight, it's followed immediately now by, what am I gonna play? And my Overwatch comp teammates, geesh, it's like when your buddy starts dating another girl you all hate. He's just sort of gone. But personally, for now, my Overwatch experience is done. The current state of the game just isn't conducive to what I want out of my gaming time, and any changes to improve that seem years off. I'll of course keep it installed and check in from time to time. Maybe Blizz will even surprise us with some sort of miraculous turnaround. If I could give any feedback to Blizz, it would be this. Please engage with the community. Those old dev update videos with Jeff were perfect. Please engage with content creators, not me, I'm talking real Overwatch content creators. And please do something, anything, for Overwatch 1 while we wait for Overwatch 2. And with that, I'm done. I appreciate taking the time Take care of one another, and I will see you soon.
You got any stories, friend?
Yeah, suppose I do. Want to know the saddest thing I ever saw? When I was a boy, my brother and I wanted a dog. So our father took in an old greyhound. Never seen a greyhound, have you? No.
Seen a few showdowns in my day.
A greyhound is a racing dog. Spends its life running in circles, chasing a bit of felt, made up like a rabbit. One day we took it to the park. Our dad had warned us how fast that dog was, but we couldn't resist. So my brother took off the leash, and in that instant, the dog spotted a cat. Imagine it must have looked just like that piece of felt. He ran. Never saw a thing as beautiful as that old dog running. Until at last he finally caught it. And to the horror of everyone, he killed that little cat, tore it to pieces. Then he just sat there, confused. That dog had spent its whole life trying to catch that thing. Now it had no idea what to do.